I'm on my balcony in my Makati Airbnb, leaning against the railing, completely alone. Alone in a city that never sleeps. Alone by choice. Melanie is back on her home island of Biloran, with her family, bonding, laughing, reconnecting with the people she loves. And I'm here in Manila, not just to explore, but to reclaim a kind of quiet I haven't experienced in a few years. A chance to check in with myself, to measure who I am when no one else is around to define me. I breathe in the warm air, a mix of rain, exhaust, and Manila's faint sweetness, and I notice it. Being alone doesn't feel like emptiness. It feels like freedom, a mirror, a test of strength, of patience, of clarity. Why am I alone? Because sometimes love isn't just about being together. It's about stepping back, giving space, and seeing where you are when you stand on your own. Even the deepest connections benefit from that kind of pause. This reflection brings me back to a couple mornings earlier. Leaving Biloran, I say goodbye to Melanie, feeling the familiar tug in my chest, the quiet ache of leaving someone you care about deeply. It can't help but bring up memories of when we were 3 years LDR. I would visit her, and when I left, we didn't know how long it would be before we'd see each other again. This time is easier because we know it's only a week. When I arrived, Manila and its 14 million people welcomed me the same way it always does, with motion, with sound, with life pressing in from every direction. And yet, if you let it, it becomes the perfect place to be alone. Not lonely, just alone. I arrived in the late afternoon and checked into my first Airbnb near Mall of Asia. A few hours ago, I was walking down a quiet provincial road, dust on my shoes, sunlight spilling across the rice fields, passing homes built with whatever they could find, where life is simple, sometimes hard, but real. And now, I'm here in a massive mall. Bright lights, designer stores, a place built for spending, for comfort, for choices most people in the province will never have. It's two Philippines that barely look related, yet somehow they're the same country. And walking through the Mall of Asia with all its noise and motion, I'm reminded how easy it is to feel alone, even in a crowd, and how sometimes that's the kind of alone you actually need. The biggest casinos in the country call this area home. Okada Manila, City of Dreams, Solaire. I'm a man who loves to play poker, but I don't sit down and play a single hand. I walk the floor, feel the familiar pull, and realize I'm not here for that this week. Not for distractions, not for noise. There's a whole city outside these walls, and for once, I want to be fully present in it. So I step back into the Manila air, stay long enough to breathe, to settle, and let the quiet choose me instead of the cards. After a couple days, I moved on to Makati, where we began this story. From my window above Rizal Park, I watched the day begin. Joggers circling the park, office workers crossing the street with coffee in hand, vendors opening their stalls with unspoken hope. It's funny how peace hides in the ordinary. I walk through Greenbelt, a place where the city suddenly steps aside and offers you a breath. The pathways curve like they were shaped for reflection. Soft greens, slow waters, a pocket of serenity in the middle of Manila. As I walk, I realize something important. Being alone doesn't need to be uncomfortable. It can be profoundly healthy, rewarding, and refreshing. There's a local coffee shop near my Airbnb where I spend a good part of the morning. No fancy setup, no loud music, just the aroma of strong beans, the steady hum of conversation, and a window table in the corner that feels cozy as home. I sit with my coffee, gazing out the window as the city moves in waves in front of me. For a moment, everything slows. The traffic, the noise, even my own thoughts, all settling gently, the way the grounds drift to the bottom of the cup. This is what alone time feels like at its best. Light, steady, clarifying. A quiet lantern guiding me back to myself, illuminating who I've become and who I'm becoming. It takes me back to a chapter of my life defined by the same kind of quiet. For 12 years after my divorce, I lived in that same space, happy, content, alone, but not lonely. Those years were not an in-between. They were a foundation, a rebuilding, a rediscovery. And in some ways, being in Makati alone brings me back to that version of myself. One who found peace in solitude, one who learned stillness. Afternoon comes and I make my way towards Intramuras, the old walled city of Manila, a historic district built during the Spanish colonial period. It's a city within a city. Its cobblestone streets, stone gates, and centuries-old walls tell stories of conquest, faith, and resilience. I walked through Fort Santiago. It was built by the Spanish in 1571, a fortress meant to guard the city, to stand watch over Manila Bay. Its walls have seen invaders, sieges, revolutions, and countless lives rise and fall within its shadow. There is something grounding about walking through a place that has stood cannon fire, invasions, and time itself, yet it stands. Life is like that. We all have our inner Fort Santiago, stone walls that survived every battle, the parts of us that weathered storms we didn't think we could endure. I'm sure you have too, your own walls, like the fort, that survived your toughest times. The memories and scars we hold, not because they're easy, but because they made us stronger, wiser, ready for a fresh start. I make my way towards Manila Cathedral. Its stone facades rise against the sky, worn, weathered, and yet still undeniably beautiful. I sit in a pew near the back, not to be seen, just to breathe, just to be still. And I'm taken back to years when faith was the center of my life. Years I was at the church every time the doors opened, when I served as a deacon, when the church felt like family. Then, the years during my divorce, when the people who used to call me brother, called me friend, saw my pain, my struggle, and quietly stepped away. No phone calls, no how can I help. My life had grown too messy, too heavy for them to handle. It was a harsh lesson. Those you believe will never leave often do when the ground shifts beneath you. That kind of hurt doesn't make headlines, but it leaves a scar. And yet, in that silence, in the empty space where others stood, I discover a quiet strength I didn't know I had. A chance to look at myself, to see where I faltered, what I could have done differently. Not to mend the past, too much was broken there, but to build the man I needed to be. And still, I'm here before God, still believing, still searching, not in a loud way anymore, not in a perfect attendance kind of way, but in a quiet, steady way. I think about all the years I spent learning to be okay on my own, years that didn't break me, but built me. That being comfortable with myself is one of the quietest forms of confidence. Eventually I leave the walls behind, crossing back into Manila's loud, beating heart. Traffic hums like a reminder that life never waits. And yet, in the spaces between the noise, I find the rhythm of my own pace. And I think about solitude, how often people mistake it for loneliness. I reflect on how people I have observed, mostly women, but not only, people rushing from relationship to relationship, like a monkey swinging from tree to tree, never letting go of the last branch until the new one is in hand, never pausing, never learning who they are alone. That is why time after a relationship matters, to heal, to learn, to understand yourself, so you don't carry old hurts into the next one, so you don't repeat the same mistakes. It's in that quiet work that you grow, not flawless, but whole enough to love openly, to be present, to build a relationship that stands on the strength you've earned, rather than the wounds you never healed. Learning to be happy alone builds depth. It builds persistence. I feel sorry for those who can't sit and have dinner alone, perfectly content, unbothered by what anyone might think. I don't know why, but those things have never been weird to me, and I'm so glad. Maybe you felt the urge to fill every quiet space. But what if clarity waits in the spaces we try hardest to avoid? As evening settles, I make my way towards Rizal Park, the sprawling open space at the heart of Manila. Walking slowly, I let the city release its grip on me. I find a bench, sit and watch the sun lower itself behind the skyline. Here, in this open space, I feel the full weight and freedom of being alone. Solitude is not lonely. It is not emptiness. It's a quiet echo showing what I've endured, what I've built, and who I'm becoming. I close my eyes, breathe in the evening air, and feel something subtle and true. The city itself becomes a guide. Every path, every flag, every footstep reflecting lessons learned, and the self I can bring to the world before I share it with anyone else. I walk the pathway slowly, watching fountains ripple, watching couples lean close to one another. Everywhere I look, there are Filipino families, friends, couples, moving together. Laughter singing like music across the park. I feel like an observer, seeing the joy of connection in its purest forms. And it strikes me, this alone time, these times of learning to be content by myself, have prepared me to see this clearly, not with envy, but with gratitude. I notice the pride of the Filipino people, flags lining the park, the enormous flag at the center catching the last light of day. And as I look down, I see their feet, walking, standing, moving through life with quiet purpose. Feet that carry stories, burdens, and hopes. And I'm reminded that everyone is walking their own path. Some walk straight, steady paths, smooth and predictable. Most of us do not. I see it in the people around me today, their journeys written in the shoes on their feet. Sneakers that have jogged crowded streets. Boots that have labored through rice fields. Sandals that have carried them across beaches and marketplaces. Each worn sole tells a story of hard work and perseverance. Miles walked, challenges faced, and obstacles overcome. In that shared struggle, I can relate to the Filipino people, recognize resilience in every step, and understand that even in our different cultures, our human experience binds us together. Seeing their paths reflected in mine reminds me of my own journey, full of curves, cliffs, and potholes, each shaping me profoundly. But each stumble, each misstep, each uphill climb has made me stronger, wiser, and brought me here to this moment, to the city, to my shared humanity with the Filipino people. I think about the years I spent learning to be comfortable with myself, when I learned to sit with my own company. It began a time to grow, to clarify what I wanted, and to prepare myself for what comes next. Those years taught me that being alone is not loneliness, that when you are comfortable with yourself, you move through the world with a different kind of confidence, soft, steady, real. And yet, here's the truth. We are not meant to walk alone forever. I think of Melanie and a warmth spreads over me. This alone time, these reflections, these quiet park benches, they're richer because connection is waiting at the other end. Love doesn't erase solitude, it completes it, like two notes in the same melody. As the last gold slips into night and streetlights glow softly around me, I understand something simple. And that's why love feels deeper, not because it fills empty spaces, but because it meets you in your fullness. As the week quickly comes to an end, I feel it, the shift. My time alone has been a gift, but it has also been a preparation. Alone time is essential. It teaches patience, clarity, resilience. It shows us who we are without anyone else defining us. It prepares us for second chances. But alone time is not meant to last forever. Its true value comes when it prepares us to be fully present, fully alive with the one we love. I imagine you, listening to this, thinking about your own life, your own struggles, your quiet moments, your search for clarity. And this is what I want you to hear. Being alone is not failure. Being content with yourself is not selfishness. It is strength. It is preparation. It is the foundation of belonging, first to yourself, then to someone else. And then Melanie arrives. Stepping into the city, her presence shifts everything. Not replacing the quiet, but illuminating it. Whatever season you're in, alone, searching, rebuilding, your clarity, your patience, your courage will prepare you for the connection waiting just beyond the horizon. Alone, you discover who you truly are. Together, you become more than you ever could by yourself. I take her hand, we walk through the streets of Manila, and in that moment, I feel it. Every quiet hour, every late night reflection, every pause for breath, all of it led me here, to love, to connection, to belonging, to a life that is richer, fuller, deeper, because I learned to stand on my own first. This is the gift of alone time, the gift of second chances, the gift of life itself. And if you allow yourself the space to find it, the gift awaiting you. If this story touched you, show some love. Like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to follow the journey. Every quiet moment matters, and reflection matters too.